Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of You Haven't Seen That Podcast. I'm Isaac.
I'm Elva.
And this is a show where we cover movies on the growing list of films and has people asking us a question.
You haven't seen that?
Intermission edition. We will eventually get back to a regular movie breakdown. These are just so much fun, and they're bite-sized and they're easy to do. But we're still breaking down movies, all right? So, little do you know, we're actually recording multiple sessions today because there's just so much going on. But per the title that you clicked on of this podcast, thank you again for listening. We're going to be covering 3 movies that came out. Mm-hmm. Elva?
Borderlands, Cuckoo, and It Ends With Us.
Now, I'm not going to really chime in a lot on the It Ends With Us because I actually didn't see that. No, I'm not really targeted for that movie.
You're not a rom-com kind of person.
Not really a rom-com kind of person. But you had some reactions to it. So we will get to that one. But first, let's start off with the supposed, blockbuster smash. It was supposed to be a blockbuster smash hit. Borderlands.
More like blockbuster buzz.
Oh, boy. The trailer was cool for Borderlands. This movie starring Kevin Hart.
Kate Blanchett.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Jinx Diomia Coke.
I didn't even finish her last name.
Jack Black. And I forget who plays Tiny Tina and the Psycho.
Ariana Greenblatt.
Okay. You'd have the other guy. You can't pronounce it.
For which one? The
Psycho?
Florian Montague.
Oh, and I think I said Jack Black.
Yes.
As Claptrap. So again, the trailer looked cool. I was excited to go see it. It was directed by Eli Roth. It had I think $110 million, $120 budget. So it's like it was supposed to be a hit. It's based off of a video game, which I've never played. I don't really play video games much, but I know that much. And it looked like visually, like it was going to be visually stunning. It was a movie. It was a movie.
It indeed was a movie. Yes.
I know it already got really bad ratings, really bad reviews. I mean, unless I sit with it longer, I wouldn't outright say that it was a terrible movie. And I've seen terrible movies. Mm-hmm. This didn't feel like it was a really bad movie. I know that video game adaptations have been notorious for falling flat. And in my opinion, I think a lot of the times it's because in a video game, in case you don't know, it's like multiple hours of gameplay wherein you get to slowly world build and tell the story and build background and everything. It's super immersive, all of that stuff. Now you have the task, the kind of unfair task. And it's not much of an excuse for movie makers, but, you're trying to fit all of that into an hour and 42-minute movie. Mm-hmm. That's a very difficult task. So, let's not forget that. But all that being said, like I said, it wasn't bad. I didn't walk out there going, Jesus, can't believe they did, this, that, and the other. There were some things I probably could have and would have tweaked. As much as I love Jack Black, his character voicing Claptrap, the robot, was a bit much. It was obviously the comic relief.
Now, are you saying that it's obviously the comic relief? Because I haven't played the game, or is it actually the game itself, and that's how that character is?
I don't know, and that's actually a good point that you brought up. Other people that I was speaking with, they go, well, yes, the job of a movie is supposed to make you kind of introduce new people who haven't played the video games, and yet those who have played the video games make them feel comfortable that they're watching this movie. So I don't think it entirely matters. Did they live up to that character in the game? Mm-hmm. In the game, there were just so many quote unquote comic relief moments where even I was like, okay, well, dial it back down there. It was as if I was watching, even though it is an animated character, as if I was watching a Pixar movie, not Pixar, DreamWorks or something along the lines of that, animated thing where it's there's obviously that one character that is there for the comic relief. And so they'll joke at any fucking moment and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
What was your overall take?
I really can't say much because there was a point in the movie where I fell asleep a little bit.
Oh, and we should probably say, we saw it. We took our nephews to go see it, ages 11 and
14.
Is Matthew 14?
He's going into high school, dude.
Oh man, time flew by. Time flew by so fast. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. And they haven't played the video game, but they're aware of it. And I was thinking, well, I want to get their take on it. And we do have a full review out of where they're reviewing it. But I wanted to see, them as little boys loving, essentially popcorn movies. I want to see what their take is on it.
Mm-hmm. The parts that I did watch were, they kept me locked in. So it in a way, even if you never play the game, it just seemed like a fun movie, kind of like let's go to movies, but you're already seen all the movies, let's go check this one out kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. That's a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was a popcorn movie of popcorn movies.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't hate it, nor did I love it, but it was enough to just like for me to enjoy.
I will say that too. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. We were done. I go, well, that was cool. I didn't take away from like the story or anything like that, and even the boys go, and then this is maybe just a testament to them growing up. They go, felt rushed. They were like analyzing it.
Well, they also did want to go swimming, so I felt like they're like, it's gonna take forever, and they're like, after as soon as it ended, they're like, I felt rushed.
No, I no.
My bad.
We were talking about it like on the walk back to the car and everything. They go, okay. Like there was a certain part in the movie towards the end. Big thing happens, big reveal, so to speak. And the boys looked at each other as we're watching, and they go, "Really?"
I saw that. I would
right.
Every once in a while I'll look over at their direction, and they're just like looking at each other, and then like have Andre look at me like, "Is that really happening?" And I'm like, I don't know. You tell me. I thought you played the game.
So they didn't hate it. They were just like, okay, thanks, Uncle, for taking us to watch a movie. Cool. Can we go swimming now? It was just a thing. I mean, I think that if maybe I was like taking them to see Deadpool Wolverine, I know it's not entirely age appropriate, but I think they would have had way more fun with that.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, speaking of Deadpool Wolverine, I just saw that they broke $1 billion.
Oh, nice.
So congratulations to them. Fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's a really good movie.
So the movie had a great cast. I think it had a wonderful cast. Everybody in their own respective works, they do a great job. I kind of fell in love with Cate Blanchett. She does something.
Oh my god.
She makes things move.
Yeah. I guess what, Tiny Tina?
I think the most lovable part of that movie.
Throughout the whole movie, I'm like, where have I seen you before?
Oh, where's she?
Barbie. She's the daughter.
Yeah.
And she's young Ahsoka.
Oh, that's right, young Ahsoka. Good for her.
So I was just like, I've seen you, like I've seen you somewhere. I just don't know where until right now.
Wait,
I looked it up.
Wasn't she also young? Oh, damn it. Daughter of Thanos, Guardians of the Galaxy, green skinned.
Hold on.
Research, vamping.
Young Gamora?
Young Gamora.
Yes.
Yeah. Good for her. Yeah, I think she was awesome. I think she did a fantastic job.
I mean, she has a couple of movies under her belt, so that's pretty good for her.
Speaking of the characters, too, and again, I'm not familiar with any of the characters, but I remember after the trailer, some people were like, Tiny Tina's supposed to be a little bit more like maniacal and demented or whatever. And I was like, I think it came through perfectly in the movie.
She played it well.
She played it super well. You got to see more of her being a nutbag throughout it. I love her relationship between her and the psycho dude, the big guy with a mask. Krieg. And I know, speaking of audience complaints, when they saw that Kevin Hart was cast as Roland, because evidently Roland's supposed to be like a 6 foot plus tall dude, and I don't know how tall is Kevin Hart. Not tall. We know that. That's kind of common. Not common, but that's known.
I can tell you. Keep going.
I liked that at the start of the movie they immediately acknowledged that he's not tall with the simple line, and I go, okay, they know who they cast. And Kevin Hart in all of his movies has been known for being like, he's the loud comic relief. And I'm actually kind of proud of him that he wasn't that. And
a more serious role.
Dude, he actually kicked ass in the action sequences. I think he did a fucking great job.
Props for him for that, yeah.
I don't know if I would want to see him in more action stuff, but he's in his early 50s, late 40s, and he's in shape. That dude's in shape. So
You know how tall he is?
Oh yeah.
You want to guess?
Is he taller or shorter than comic book accurate Wolverine? Comic book accurate Wolverine's 5'2".
Taller.
Okay, 5'5".
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
On the dot? Okay, there you go.
I thought comic book accurate
Shocking.
Wolverine was 5'3".
No, I'm sorry, you're correct. Oh, good pull. Yeah, he is 5'3".
I'm like, look, dude, I've done my research.
It's Hugh Jackman that's 6'2".
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does not make any sense.
That is what it is. The action. Sorry, going back to the action. Let's talk about the action sequences. What did you think?
I like things go boom.
I like things to go boom too, darling. The visual effects for $110+ million budget were good. They're I watch a lot of if I not mentioned it before, on YouTube there's a channel called Corridor Digital, and they do VFX artists react. Mm-hmm. What?
No, go ahead.
What?
No, continue.
You just made a face. And thanks to watching a lot of their videos, they kind of show you like what does good VFX look like, and why does it look good or why does it look bad. And so after watching this movie, I was like, some stuff kind of took me a little out of it. And I didn't coach the boys when they did the review. They both were like, yeah, the CGI was, there was kind of fake looking. I'm like, good for you guys for being able to spot that, you know? I mean, CGI is supposed to be seamless, and yes, of course, you're going to have, there's no other way to do a fantastically big monster or creature and stuff like that. But there's just, it was, some scenes were like, oh, that's obviously green screen, probably like lighting issues, just not matching certain things.
Probably.
There's stuff like that. And just for a big budget movie, and having a director like Eli Roth, he could have done a little better.
It's a little, yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I had like a little light bulb reaction was, do you remember that movie we watched earlier this year with Ryan Gosling?
Fall Guy?
Was it Fall Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're kind of making
Fucking
like
love that movie.
like a creatures fighting each other kind of thing. Somehow in my head right now, it like mixed those two movies up. Like Fall Guy was the behind the scenes to this movie.
Oh,
And
the
that's-
movie that they were making in that movie.
Yeah, so I was just like,
Good pull.
this is it. This is the movie.
That's so silly.
And I was like, I combine movies.
And if no one has seen Fall Guy yet, you're fucking, you
You're
gotta
dumb.
treat yourself. Yeah,
You're dumb.
You gotta treat yourself.
Why haven't you seen it?
I think that was good. That was my favorite movie of the year so far. And then fucking Deadpool Wolverine came out.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's a good point. Like that's what it looks like when attention is given to certain visual effects details. So again, just a lot of things could have been done a little better. Oh, you know what? This was kind of a random one. Speaking of podcasts, I listened to Bobby Lee has two podcasts, Tiger Ballet and Bad Friends. Bad Friends being my favorite one of the two. And for months, they talked about him being in Borderlands and, you know, all this other stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm excited to see him. I've actually seen him in a short film. He can act. So I had a giggle when he popped up on screen, and it wasn't his best. And I think they could have and should have cast somebody else for this particular role where he's a soldier. Because in the trailer, I thought he was like a bartender, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense. He gets that feel. I think you even said he looked like he would be what?
Like the guy who has something on sale, like he came out of the fell off the truck kind of thing.
Which is totally, to quote some of his podcast cast members, slimy. He has the slimy look. Man, they could have recast that completely. Like there was no chemistry between that scene. Ultimately, took me out of the movie. That whole entire interaction with him and Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah, I didn't like.
But you know, everyone acted their hearts out, minus Bobby Lee. The story was okay. It just was hard to put together, like I said at the beginning, to make you really care about it. But honestly, if there's nothing else to watch in theaters right now, it's not grabbing your fancy, which is hard to say because there's a lot of movies.
Or you want to take a little break from the heat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I would say go and watch Borderlands. Otherwise, you could skip it. I didn't really take a lot from the movie.
No, I didn't, and I only fell asleep in the beginning.
I think we all kind of were respectively tired, and
Oh yeah.
I dozed off a little too. It wasn't to say that the movie was boring. It just it was a little sleepy weepy. Next movie.
Cuckoo.
Starring
Chu. Hunter Schafer.
Bless you.
Oh, wait, what? Thank you.
We did talk about this, I believe, in one of the trailers. Mm-hmm. I think it was a well-constructed trailer when we saw it, and this was buddied up with The Watchers. Ultimately, we did see The Watchers, and it wasn't any good. It was a lot of like, ooh, what's the reveal? And, they kind of pose that question.
This movie makes up for it.
Absolutely makes up for it. Yeah. If you've seen The Watchers and you watched my review of it and I let you know that it sucks, skip The Watchers, check out Cuckoo. Hunter Schafer did a really good job, and I think is our new Scream Queen. Had all that aspects of, I would say, Last Girl, but there weren't a lot of characters involved in the story.
You mean Final Girl?
Last Girl, Final Girl. It's all synonymous, right? Don't correct me on our podcast. God dang it! I was a little gun shy because of The Watchers, and I really didn't want this movie to disappoint me, and ultimately it didn't. Dan Stevens, I fucking love, and he killed it in this movie as well. It's a horror thriller, and as you watch it, it turns out to be like a sci-fi thriller, and it does eventually let you know what the creatures are, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Mm-hmm. And it was paced so very well. The aesthetic of everything was kind of like a 70s-ish feel. I love that it was like at the base of the Alpines, in like a hotel in Germany. That's where the Alpines are, the mountains. Just the overall feel of it was how any horror film, any thriller should be. And when a lot of times when there's a reveal of the creature or of the monster, you go, oh, okay, I saw the thing. Every time the creature popped up, I'm like, yeah, I'm still freaked out just because of like, it was so simple. It was just so simple.
It was anytime before like any close up of it, of that creature, it was like the small details where you can see the creature from afar, make out some features, but it was those highlighted features that made you like feel uneasy about it.
And per any horror story, and a horror movie, and I say it a bunch anytime we talk about horror films, you have to care about the characters. You have to build some backstory. You have to take some time with that. They did absolutely all of that. They had, everyone's respective motivations, and, they didn't cheat the characters and make them dumb in any sort of way, nothing like that. There was some aspects towards the end of the film that I actually found was pretty fascinating. Dynamics between certain characters, good and bad. And it allowed for an interesting situation towards the end where it made you question, like, oh, what would you do in that situation? As opposed to being like, you're the protagonist, kill the antagonist, and then that's the movie, And then it did kind of leave it a bit open. This is not really revealing much, but it did leave it open-ended enough that you could allow for a sequel.
Or a prequel.
A prequel would be interesting because there are certain things in this movie that there were, every horror movie, especially when you're like, ooh, what's going on, poses some questions, and they did answer enough of them where you're satisfied. Sorry, I was playing footsie with me naked. Sorry. Keep the romance alive when we record. I don't know why it tickled me.
I was just trying to stretch my leg because it was getting numb.
Oh, I thought you were being romantic. You're just stretching your legs.
That's why when I initially touched you, I was like, wait, let me move.
How sweet. What an asshole. You can just pretend you're being sweet. Fuck. She's like, horror films gets me going. Turns out the romance is actually dead.
Like the horror film.
The horror film. Oh boy, but no, I think a prequel would be yeah. So they pose the questions, they answer them, and then but there are certain things here and there that they didn't answer, and I kind of like that they didn't because it would have felt shoehorned in, like it's forced. You have to get all the answers. Boom, they're in the movie, and they didn't do that, and I like it, even though I'm like, well, but why did this person do X, Y, Z exactly? We didn't need it. We just knew what was happening per that exact situation, in that sort of vacuum. But overall, what was your take on the movie?
I thought it was pretty interesting, and it did really good for suspense. It didn't really give away anything, and it kind of gave you a couple clues to what would happen, but it wouldn't give it away to where like, oh, back there you told me what was going to happen. But I thought I didn't really have any issues with the movie.
I agree. I also didn't have any issues with the movie. Like, and mostly every movie that we watch, I go, well, this could have been done a little better here, a little better there. I am completely on board with how everything was handled in this movie. Mm-hmm. Not even like a little tweak here or there. I dug it.
You dig it?
I can dig it.
You can dig it? I can dig it.
So obviously, I advise people
definitely watch it.
To watch it. Mm-hmm. And last but not least.
Last but certainly not least.
This is where I mentally check out.
Yeah. Start checking out now.
I don't really have questions for this movie that Alva saw. And a lot of other female followers did end up checking out.
So,
Wait, is it actually a rom-com?
It's a drama romance.
Okay, because you told me, you were explaining the movie to me, and then right now I realize at the beginning of this episode.
Oh, yeah, I said rom-com, and I'm like, wait, hold on.
Holy shit.
Hold on, my bad.
By the way, I bet
it's a romance,
I bet
for sure.
The people who saw that movie, who are familiar with like the book and stuff, for 26 minutes are like, this bitch called it a fucking rom-com? How dare she?
Okay, guys, just so you know, I have a little bit of a head cold. Not 100% there today. So yes, so it is a romance movie, and I did end up seeing it with Rachel, my friend. And I will say that this movie did make me cry. It made me.
Who's it starring?
It's starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Definitely based off a Colleen Hoover novel. For those who have not read the book, it did a really good job with you getting the message across from the movie. Now, the only thing that I may have an issue with is the romanticization of domestic abuse.
Now, how do you mean? Because you were explaining it to me, and from what it sounded like is, ultimately lessons were learned?
Yes, so lessons were learned. So throughout the whole movie, it kind of goes through Lily's story of her growing up in an abusive household, getting away, thinking that she's not going to find someone like her dad, and ends up right in the same spot as her mom. But the only difference is she leaves. And I think how they told her story and how they told her love interest story.
Because, by the way, that type of, I guess everyone's origin story, not origin story, background story. I've been watching a lot of comic book movies, so pardon my terminology, is very familiar. Do you think that a lot of viewers, female or otherwise, could relate to this movie and maybe take something away from it?
Oh, definitely. I think what the director wanted to make this movie, which is also, he's starring as Ryle, the main character, and he made the movie so he can show women who may be in that same situation that there is an out, that you can muster up that courage, and that you don't have to go through it alone. And Blake Lively's perspective on this whole thing is her character in the movie was mostly didn't make the whole being a victim her persona.
An identity.
An identity, yes. So it was like, yes, I did go through this, but in the end, I am still learning to do things for myself. I'm making my own identity. If
any man, and heaven forbid, any men that are actually the abusers in a relationship, or women, like any abusers, sorry, and I'm not going to make it gender specific. If any abusers happen to watch the movie, do you think that maybe there is something that they can take away from it? other than just like, hey, you're the asshole. You know?
Yeah. I think that's also something that can be taken out. You could take away with that. Maybe realize or start to realize maybe that is something you do. But of course, you would have to open your mind to it for you to seek help for yourself, because mostly that is a lot of inner work for you while you're doing that.
Did you cry?
Like literally, I was watching the movie, trying not to cry in the beginning, and then I look over to Rachel, and she's crying, and I do that thing where I usually do. It's like, no, you too.
Yeah,
and then I'm just like, well, I guess it's not a safe space to like cry. But there was a lot of gasp and like, oh no, throughout the whole movie theater. And I don't think it's safe to say there was not like a dry eye in the house.
And I suppose without revealing much, and I also imagine that maybe the people who wanted to go see this movie maybe had already seen it, probably anticipated it because you yourself had read the book, right?
Yes. The only thing is, I read the book. Since I read a lot of books, I tend to forget what I read. So when I went into the movie, I was like, they did a pretty good job, but I feel like I'm missing. What's going on? I don't feel like this happened in the book. But
so again, without revealing much, like, was it a portion that you cried at? Was it multiple spots? And can you kind of say like what kind of heartstrings it tugged?
So most of the crying was done towards the end. A lot of choking up moments or moments of like shock or towards maybe the abusive parts kind of thing. Because there is like a difference from reading it in a book and then using your own imagination to picture it. You can dial that down in your head.
Sure, yeah.
But when you see it in a movie, and it's different because you're just kind of immersed in the movie. And you know how I watch movies. It's like I'm all in it. Like everything is kind of like
zoned out.
So I'm just in the movie. So yeah, like there's some moments where I'm like, ooh, or I would like, slightly go like gasp at myself or something. I'm like, ooh, okay.
And as far as a book adaptation, because I know there's a few movies we've seen over time that have been book adaptations where you go, well, you understand they had to take creative control of this, that, and the other, leave some spots out because it doesn't translate like in an actual movie form. But that being said, do you feel that as a book adaptation, it did a very you read the book to do a good job?
It did a good job to just take the key points of it, to need certain key points in there. And of course, I know after I skimmed through the book, after I watched the movie, I was like, oh man, I really do wish they had this. Or I really wish that they added these other scenes to make that scene more intense. But like you said, it was creative. Like there's a creative freedom, and then there's also like how much does the author of the book want in that book, or maybe certain things aren't going to get greenlit because of the studio or something like, no, that may be too real. Yeah. So I think it did a good job portraying, taking the key moments there. And I do hope they do the second book to that.
Okay. I was actually going to ask too, is it purely fictional? Is it based on any kind of true events other than unfortunate, generations of abused people and victims? Is this based off of anything specific?
No, I don't think so.
Good. It'd be more heartbreaking, right?
Yeah. Unless there is something that like the author isn't telling, then I'm not really so sure about that.
Yeah.
To each their own. Like if you want to tell your story, then go right ahead. If somebody just,
True.
But I did hear in an interview that the author wants to do the second book and wants Blake Lively to direct the second book.
Oh, direct the book?
Direct the movie to the second book.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see if that goes. Because even the director for this one, they asked him, and he goes, I think Blake Lively would do a really good job with the second one.
Wow.
So kudos there.
So you say don't see the movie. I'm sorry.
I say see the movie.
In theaters?
In theaters, yeah.
IMAX? 40X?
I don't know. 40X is going to be...
Sorry,
no, sir.
Sorry, I had to inject some humor into it.
Definitely go see the movie. If you can in theaters. If you can't get it, I get it. Wait till it streams. But But yeah, go with a friend, go with a partner, go with yourself if you need to.
Well, thank you for watching that movie and, not having to take me to go see it and stuff. Because it seemed, is it kind of safe to say that females would like it over males watching it?
No. I've done some research after watching the movie, and there are some males that actually watched the movie.
Okay.
And kind of just...
I asked that because everyone that I talked to seen it has been female. Mainly, I guess, because the book itself is like targeted towards women.
No, it's a good movie for both for males to go watch, especially if you want more insight on probably those issues.
Okay.
Because I think that it can also teach males how to see certain patterns on how friends act, because not everyone's going to be open about it, and that's one thing that the movie did. Like, she didn't tell anyone about it till towards the end. So I think it would be good for you to watch it as well.
So you'd suggest that me and the audience check it out?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I will. I might wait for it to stream.
It's okay. I'll put it on when we're...
Or if we have nothing to do and it's so hot during the week and we want to take advantage of the theater's AC, I guess you can take me to go see it.
Oh, yeah, you could see me cry again.
I don't enjoy that.
It's a possibility. It's not going to be like Coco, but you're going to get there.
Yeah, it's a whole different crying. All right, so ready to wrap it up? Anything else you want to say about the movie? Which, by the way, can we just have a quick moment to let anybody know who might be going through some domestic violence issues? There is a hotline number and a text number.
Hotline number is 1-800-799-7233. And if you can't call, you can always text BEGIN to 88788.
Yeah, that's the word BEGIN, right? BEGIN. Yeah. Little public service. Back to your review. All right, let's wrap it up then. Thank you again, people, for listening to another episode of You Haven't Seen That. To wrap it up, to sum it up, Borderlands.
Cuckoo, and it ends with us.
Don't watch Borderlands. Definitely watch Cuckoo. And
watch It Ends With Us.
And I have to check that one out. In the meantime, where can people find us?
They can find us at Forehead Films on Instagram and TikTok. FOREHED Films.
And, of course, don't forget to like, share, follow, rate, review, subscribe, hit the notification thing.
Oh, my God.
So thank you, everyone who has been interacting with us on the social medias. I say it every time, but like I really do mean it. Thank you. I love the interaction. I like that we've kind of created a little community, and I even get like movie suggestions, and people will send me stuff like, "Hey, what is your favorite movie? What's your most boring movie?" So on and so forth. So I like talking movies in all way, shape, and form. So. In the meantime, tell me what movies you're interested. Continue to tell me what movies you're interested in, and of course, let us know what movies are on your growing list of films. It has people asking you the question. You haven't seen that? Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.